はい、皆様こんばんは。本日は SI-UK 主催ノーサンプトン大学の心理学コースについてのオンラインセミナーにご参加くださりありがとうございます。今回ご紹介するノーサンプトン大学の心理学コースは40年の歴史があり、英国心理学会ブリティッシュ・サイコロジカル・ソサエティの認定コースとなります。近年注目され始めたポジティブ心理学を含む MSc 応用心理学や MSc 心理学コンバージョンコースについて本日はテイラー教授にお話しいただきます。その後でノーサンプトン大学の担当官をされているファンタロースさんに大学全体の情報や手続きについてご紹介していただきます。ノーサンプトン大学は日本人の生徒さんに向けてとてもジェネラスな奨学金制度を設けてくれていることでも有名です。それではプレゼンテーションを始めていただきます。Over to you, Professor Taylor. Please start your presentation.
Oh, hello everyone. My name's Dr. Laura Taylor from the University of Northampton, and thank you for joining us this morning. I'm just going to spend a little bit short of half an hour talking you through what it's like to study psychology at the University of Northampton. So I'll be talking a little bit about what psychology is and what it's used for, why it's a good degree to take. I will talk a little bit about the different courses that we've got on offer. Some of those are undergraduate courses, and of course we have some postgraduate courses also. And then I'll talk a little bit about what makes studying psychology at Northampton a little bit different from studying a psychology degree at other institutions, especially those in the UK. Okay, so I don't know how much everybody knows about psychology, but psychology is the scientific study of the human mind and how the human mind affects and leads to different behaviours. So there's lots of different types of psychologists, and many people study psychology courses because they want a career as a psychologist later on. But psychology is a lot more than that. If we can understand why other people behave in the way that they do, and why and how their thoughts differ and lead them to behave in different ways, we can use that information in a variety of different settings and careers. So as well as becoming a professional psychologist, and I'll talk a little bit about the different types later on, you can use knowledge of the human condition and human mind and human behaviour to do many different things. For example, advertisers use knowledge or understanding of what influences people to buy, to consume certain things, to inform their campaigns. Writers tend to be very well versed in psychology and use that understanding of human behaviour not only to develop really rounded, realistic human characters, but also to be able to tell stories that appeal to a wide range of people. So, psychology is essentially everywhere, and it's really important. It's really important not only on an individual level, so that you can sort of navigate your own way around your social environment and understand the motivations and the actions of the people around you, but it's also really important for society as a whole. If we understand each other better, that leads to a better, more well-functioning society in which we're all a lot more empathetic and understanding about individual differences and what makes one person unique and different from the next person. So on the next slide, I've just thought I'd show you, I didn't mean to include a picture of myself in the first picture there, but just a few of the team at Northampton. We have a big psychology team with lots of different experts in different areas of psychology. Each member of staff has different responsibilities in relation to the different courses that we offer, and each member of staff also has personal responsibility for a small group of students. At Northampton, the course is not as large as it might be at other institutions, and that's partly due to the different way that we teach psychology. I will talk a little bit about that in future, in a little bit later on in the presentation. But each member of staff will get to know their students very, very well and very personally, and they will sort of stick by them throughout the 3 years of an undergraduate programme or 1 or 2 years of a postgraduate programme. And also in the final year, you will be allocated a specific member of staff to support you in your personal project, your final year dissertation, which is part of all of the courses that we offer at Northampton. Okay, so I'll just go through the different courses that we offer. At undergraduate level, all our courses are Bachelor of Science degrees because, as I said, psychology is a scientific subject. So we offer the single honours psychology, which is just straight psychology, and I'll talk about the modules that comprise that in a little bit. We also offer a BSc in forensic psychology. So for those of you that aren't familiar with this, forensic psychology is about understanding the motivations and reasons behind criminal behaviours and activities. So people in this field would profile individuals that might have conducted a crime and say, this is the kind of person that might be responsible for this. They look at victim demographic groups and study motivations and the factors that lead to people committing various crimes or being involved in crime on some level. We also offer a degree in psychology with a specialism in counselling. So that's primarily for people that wish to work in the counselling area with people that have specific difficulties, either they've gone through or experienced negative life events, or they have specific disorders, for example, OCD, so obsessive compulsive disorder, so some sort of compulsion to behave in a way that interferes with their everyday life. So counselling is about helping other people get over difficulties that are impacting upon their life. We also offer a degree course in psychology with a specialism in developmental and educational aspects. So here we're looking at how people's thinking changes over child developmental trajectory, and how our understanding of how people think and learn at different ages can help us to teach people better, and also help us to pick up on any specific difficulties that children might be having with their learning. And then if we could pick up on those difficulties, obviously we could take steps to intervene and help those children. And the last, excuse me, undergraduate course I'm going to talk about is a joint honours course in psychology and criminology. So psychology being, as we've discussed, the scientific study of mind and behaviour, and criminology, the study of sort of criminal activities, but in a sort of wider society rather than the specific individual's criminal behaviour that's associated with forensic psychology. At postgraduate level, we have a number of different courses, very similar to the ones we have at undergraduate course. The first MSc, so the first Masters of Science course in psychology, is a conversion course. So that's a course that's designed for people that have an undergraduate degree in another subject, but would like to convert that so that they can work in a psychological profession. So it's really a very sort of compacted version of the undergraduate course in terms of content. And for students wishing for accreditation, both our undergraduate programmes, all of them, and the Masters in Psychology are accredited by the British Psychological Society. What this means is that you get a sort of badge of recognition, meaning that you can work in the psychological field in the UK. And that recognition is also recognised in many other countries, such as Australia and lots of the Southeast. It depends on what you want to use it for. But if you wanted to work in the UK, that is essential. It's a really important accreditation. So even if you haven't got an undergraduate degree in psychology, you could go on and study the Masters in Psychology to obtain that accreditation, enabling you to work in the field. The Masters in Applied Psychology is a course that would be ideal for someone who has already completed an undergraduate course in psychology. And it gives you the option to specialise in one of a few different areas. You choose one of three sort of main strands, in addition to sort of some more in-depth psychology. And these could be in the areas of positive psychology, in the area of occupational and business psychology, or in relation to sort of education and developmental psychology. So this is a really neat little stepping stone for someone that might want to go and do a doctorate in one of those areas of psychology later on, to get, you know, to that stage where they can practice as a psychologist in that area. We also offer Masters in Counselling. So like the undergraduate course that I described a minute ago, this is for people that want to work directly on a one-to-one basis with individuals with specific mental health and needs or counselling needs. We do a similar course specifically for those wanting to work with children and young people in the counselling area. And we also do a sort of more broader MSc in child and adolescent mental health. So for those that want to work more with groups of individuals to ensure positive mental health outcomes in the youth today. Okay, so I've talked a little bit about the psychology as a whole and about the different branches of psychology and the courses that we offer at Northampton. But why? What makes Northampton unique? What makes it so much better than some of the competitive institutions? Well, first of all, I think I've already mentioned this. We have super supportive tutors, and we tend to work very much on a one-to-one basis with our students to develop interactive relationships. Unlike many other institutions, we have sort of an open door policy every week whereby students can come and speak to tutors. They can make appointments to come and speak to tutors one-to-one. And we offer a big range of support in many, many different areas. We've got 29 full-time staff and 18 part-time staff. So lots and lots of staff, which gives us a very good staff-student ratio of 25:1. And most of our teaching is done in that particular ratio. So we would have in each class about 25 to 30 students with one member of staff. I'll come back to this again in a minute, but this is one of the real selling points of Northampton. Most universities across the UK offer, well, they provide a sort of two-tier system in their teaching, in that they provide a lecture, which tends to be sort of a massive group of students, maybe 1 to 200 in a lecture theatre on each module, and then an associated seminar or workshop. At Northampton, we use a different method of teaching called applied blended learning, whereby there are no big lectures. It's much smaller class sizes, and the lecture content is combined with seminar and workshop content, so that all of our taught sessions are much more interactive than they would be at many teaching institutions. We have very good outcomes. More than 70% of our students get what's considered a good degree. So that would be a first class or an upper second. And most of our courses are modular, which means that there's some potential for choosing some subjects over others. So there's a lot of choice in terms of third year options. Northampton also prides itself on something called Changemaker, which is an employability focus, which is embedded in all of its skills, in all of its courses, whereby students are provided with many different transferable skills in addition to subject-specific knowledge, and they are supported in looking for work experience and for looking for a job after they graduate. We have, as I mentioned earlier, we have lots and lots of different psychologists across the team, which means that there's a lot of potential for some quite diverse topics of study at dissertation level. So lots of variety. So coming back to this, I've already mentioned this, all of our undergraduate courses, as well as the conversion course at master's level, are British Psychological Society recognised, which means that that particular UK accreditation can be translated, and it's usually an automatic process to accreditations in other countries. So if you study on one of these courses, it means that you can practice as a psychologist in the UK, but you could also practice in many other countries if you applied, because many countries recognise the BPS recognition or badge. So I mentioned a minute ago the different or the very unique teaching style that we have at Northampton. So this is known as active blended learning. So it's much more interactive, as I've mentioned. Everything's delivered in small groups, interactive. You can talk to your tutors, you talk to your classmates, you stay in the same class, so you can develop some very nice relationships with your peers. It's a lot more hands-on, practical, and we really emphasise, in addition to that, independent and group study. So there'll be some group work and independent work outside of the taught sessions. Now, we have a very new campus at Northampton called Waterside. It's absolutely beautiful. It's right near a river that's full of wildlife. There's many swans and geese and loads of squirrels around. A really beautiful, calming place to study and work. So we've got this new campus. It's very sort of state of the art, very interactive. There's loads of little nooks and crannies where you can, seclude yourself, secret yourself away from other students and engage in independent study. Quite uniquely, all of our provision is sort of combined into one big interactive area. So, for example, the library is sort of dotted around in one of the main buildings, and there are seating areas and cafes, etc., around where the books are stored, rather than having the library in a designated separate building. So that's in the main building on campus and where most of the psychology teaching would occur, the Learning Hub, which is a huge building with many teaching spaces, private study spaces, cafes, restaurants. There's a nice restaurant there, the library, and lots of student support services as well. So really, it's a nice little, quite small campus in a nice location in Northampton. For those, many of our students will live in Northampton in our accommodation, but some travel from nearby around. We're only 40 minutes on the train from London. So there's lots of opportunities for social events and cultural interaction there. In the other direction, we're 40 minutes from Birmingham. So nicely sandwiched halfway between sort of the two main cities in the UK. Okay, so I'm just going to talk a little bit more about the standard psychology undergraduate programme, just talk about what we study. And what happens is if you go for one of the subjects that's not straight psychology, so forensic psychology, the modules at the bottom will be replaced by modules that are specific to the course that you've chosen. So in the first year, we study psychology and practice. There's a general introduction to psychology. We look at ways to become a psychologist and ways in which psychology can be used positively to enhance the life experience. So we cover all of the key areas of psychology in each of these modules. So this again is a little bit unique to Northampton because many psychology courses will give you modules in, say, developmental psychology, social psychology, biological psychology independently. What we tend to do is combine all of those areas into each of our modules to give a much more sort of cohesive approach to the study of psychology. In the second year, students will go on and do research methods for studying and conducting experiments in psychology and look at development and social psychology, biological and cognitive psychology, as well as individual differences and the conceptual underpinnings of psychology. Students then get quite a big choice of modules to study. There's the human animal, the psychology of well-being. There's a developmental psychology looking at education and teaching. Students also engage in some independent practical work if they wish to do so. And then you could also do an optional module in counselling if you so wished. Also embedded within the undergraduate course is the opportunity to do a year-long placement between years 2 and 3, if you so wished, and the Changemaker support at Northampton campus would enable you, or would support you in seeking a suitable placement that would fit with your career aspirations and add to your sort of curriculum vitae in terms of how many skills that you would acquire during that process. So here's a nice little quote from one of our students. Here it says that doing a placement year has given me the chance to meet people in the field who have gone through a similar academic journey as mine, as well as find out more about the next possible steps after university. It will open me up to a lot more opportunities in the future, and it has given me the chance to work in a setting where I can expand my knowledge on a specific area of psychology that I truly enjoy. In this case, brain injury, neuroscience, and forensic psychology. The student goes on to say, I'd highly recommend doing a placement year because it gives you a great experience in applying knowledge from your subject, and it will give you a deep understanding of what it's like working in that particular setting. It's also a great way to expand your network by working with people with similar interests to you. So that's one option, but you don't necessarily need to take that between years 2 and 3. In the final year of the degree programme, every student conducts a psychology dissertation. When doing this, you can study any area of psychology that you wish and any specific topic within that area. And we have a sort of system whereby students can ask to be supported by specific members of staff that they get on with, and that are also specialists in the area that they wish to study. We also at level 3 have a range of optional modules that students choose from. So that obviously what you chose here would depend on what kind of area of psychology you'd like to go into later on and what interests you. I'm not going to read all of these out. Most of them are fairly self-explanatory, but we have modules in mental health, health psychology as well. So that looks at different health behaviours. So I don't know, ask questions like things like, why does everyone enroll in a gym and many people don't actually go? That kind of sort of health related behaviours. Forensic psychology, lifespan development, educational. We also have the study of parapsychology, which is quite unique to Northampton. So that's looking at the many claims that people make about having spiritual experiences and the reasons for these experiences. So looking for scientific explanations for things that seem out of the ordinary. Also uniquely, we have a module on spirituality, religion and well-being. And we have positive psychology as well, which is a very unique one to Northampton. So looking at ways that we can support people positively using psychological theory and research. As a department, as a subject group then, we keep growing. The forensic psychology is a very new course that we are now offering. And again, it's comprised of a number of different modules, all specifically focused on a career in forensic psychology and understanding and explaining the reasons, the individual factors that might lead someone to be engaged in criminal activity. So forensic psychologists work with people like the police to help solve crimes. So very, very similar. Again, there's some examples here. So we do things like criminal profiling and behaviour analysis, pathways into crime addiction, and again, applying positive psychology. So how we can prevent people from reoffending should they engage in criminal activities. Okay, so I've talked quite a lot about the content of the courses and I've given you a lot of information. So don't worry, there's plenty of time in a minute for you to ask me any questions. But before we do that, I just want to briefly give you some ideas about where our graduates go on, what they go on to do. So quite a high proportion of our students go on to do postgraduate studies, so to complete masters after they've done an undergraduate programme. We have many students that go to healthcare and education, into business support and management, advertising and marketing, like I mentioned earlier. Quite a lot of our students go and work with the media, or in the government sector, criminal justice. And we've also got quite a few uniquely staff members that have actually come up through the system. So we have got some lecturers that studied with us both undergraduate and postgraduate courses, and then have been sort of subsumed into the subject group and are now teaching. So there's a few different jobs there that people can go into if they have psychology as a first undergraduate subject. Just before I finish then, there's lots of support, as I've sort of alluded to earlier in this presentation. In addition to getting a personal tutor that will support you throughout your undergraduate or postgraduate journey, you will have a number of other support services available to you in terms of money, accommodation and health on campus. And I've just included a few pictures here to show you some of the spaces that we have. So in this first one here on the top left, you can see that we have an observational laboratory with a one-way mirror, so we can use that for psychological studies. This picture of the sort of library stacks that are involved in the teaching rooms, one of the open active spaces for sort of personal study. We also have lots of private cubicles, so where you can just basically hide yourself away and get stuff done. And in addition to a sort of really thriving academic community, we also have lots of social events organised by people across the team. So we've got a research conference that's run every year. We have lots of social events or debates. So there was a recent session in a nearby pub, actually, about whether ghosts exist. We have a Christmas quiz. This was the Christmas quiz online last year when everyone was on Zoom, wearing masks. We also, have lots of sort of like other social events that you're more than welcome to get involved with. And in addition to the social side, most of the lecturers, well, I think pretty much all of the lecturers in the team at the University of Northampton are very research active, and they publish their findings across many sort of like really well recognised journals. Here's some examples of our staff getting involved in radio and, even on Netflix, some very important television programmes that our staff have been involved with. For those of you that need it, there's also an integrated foundation year. So I think that we'll talk about that in a little bit more. So just want to end with a nice quote from one of our students. This is Kai. And he says, though completing a degree was obviously stressful, my ability to achieve high grades and effectively manage my workload was ever increasing, as the feedback and knowledge gained from each assignment was transferable and served to improve the future quality of my work. This skill was encouraged to me by the university and allowed me to progress at the best of my ability each year. As well as this, the support I received from lecturers and classmates was essential and always available. So I would recommend any future students to utilise their areas of support as much as possible. And there's a last comment from another student, Lucy, who says, my advice would be, if you're considering pursuing a career in counselling, psychology, mental health, or anything similar, the undergraduate course is the route to take. It can open up so many doors with its vast and in-depth module content. The support you will receive is second to none. The experienced psychologists and counselling team that run the courses are truly some of the greatest and most knowledgeable people I've had the pleasure of meeting. Last but not least, your experience with the University of Northampton and psychology team will be the most soul-inspiring of all. Okay, so that's all from me. I know that was a lot of information, so I'll be happy to take any questions after Cantor Rose has talked to you about some of the more broader university issues. So over to you.
Thank you very much, Laura. That was really interesting. So hello, everybody. My name is Cantor Rose Woolley, and I'm an international officer based here in Northampton. And my role is to help you apply to the University of Northampton, help you throughout the journey, and assist you with anything that you need before you arrive here at the university. So I would like to share my screen. So I'm going to talk to you about the University of Northampton generally, where we are, entry requirements, as well as scholarships available to you and accommodation. So should you wish to apply, I would also tell you how to apply and how we can assist you. Okay, so let's first start off with a little bit of COVID-19 update. So some of you are probably wondering what the situation is like in the UK right now and at the university. So the government has lifted the restrictions from the 27th of January this year. So basically there are very few restrictions currently. However, at the university, we continue to encourage students to wear face coverings until further notice. So a lot of our public spaces and teaching rooms, you will still be required to wear a face mask. All of our teachings are face-to-face right now. Whereas some will be online, depending on kind of the structure of the course. So some will be a little bit of online, but most of them will be face-to-face. So we encourage all of our staff and students to test twice a week to make sure that the environment is safe. And if you want to know more about this, because it's an ever-changing situation, please do check our FAQ on our website. But for those who are traveling into the UK from the 11th of February onwards, there'll be no need to test before or after if you are fully vaccinated. However, please do keep up to date with the changes in the regulations through our website or the government website. So Laura touched briefly on the location of the University of Northampton and how this is the key selling point for Northampton. So we are very much centrally located in the middle of England. So to get to London, it takes about 40 to 50 minutes by direct train into Euston Station. And it is fairly easily accessible to all other major cities that you may have heard of, like Birmingham, Nottingham, Cambridge, and Oxford. And if you were to fly into Northampton, most of our students fly into Heathrow or Birmingham. So there's lots of choices of international airports for you to fly into. So we have around 14,000 students in total, and around 3,000 of those are international students. So we have a growing international student population from all over the world. So when you will study with us, you will find that you will make friends from people from all over the world. And that is something that a lot of Japanese students that are studying with us really love, because they really get to know different cultures, as well as sharing your own culture to different people. And Laura touched on our beautiful waterside campus. I mean, I must say that I'm very proud to actually work on campus as well. It's so spacious, it's airy, it's modern, it's designed for 21st century teaching and learning. So you would have lots of facilities like the sports dome, free sports pitches and pavilions. You have student union, lots of spaces for you to host events if you would like to. There's a doctor's surgery on site, as well as, multi-faith chaplaincy. We have shops like Subway, restaurants, cafe, as well as a hotel on site. So it's pretty much a little village in itself. And you can walk from the campus to the town centre just 5 to 10 minutes. So very easily accessible to the train station, to the town centre itself. We have a shopping mall in a town centre, as well as cinema. Or you can hire one of the little scooters that you can see around the campus, and the cycling, is very easily reachable from anywhere in Northampton. So you can literally just walk anywhere. Okay, so what's Northampton Town is like? So Northampton is not a city, it's a town. So as I mentioned, it has a real English town feel so you can walk pretty much anywhere. And lots of Japanese students found that there's traditional buildings, there's lots of greenery as well. so within the campus, or you can walk just behind the campus. It's called Delaprey Abbey, where you can take an afternoon tea, or you can take a picnic in the summer. So you'll find there's lots of green spaces, and there's a river Nen that run right across the campus as well. If you are interested in sightseeing around Northampton, we are famous for shoemaking. So there's a shoe museum, there's the Royal Derngate Theatre, which is the oldest theatre in the UK. So you can watch musicals or theatre, and you can visit the stately homes, the Orthorpe stately home, which is about 5 miles away from Northampton, which is home to Lady Diana, her family, and where she is laid to rest. And 30 minutes away is the Silverstone racetrack. So if you are into Formula One or motorsports, this is the place for you. So I want to touch briefly on other study opportunities at the University of Northampton. So for those of you who are not looking for a degree, you just want to experience studying at Northampton for just 1 term or 1 year, we do have a short-term study program available to you. So for example, if you are interested in studying psychology, but you are not seeking a full bachelor or master degree, you just want to come for 1 year, then we can, accept you for that. And if you want to add an English course on top of that, you're very welcome to, because we have a summer pre-sessional English course that you can take if you want to brush up on your English language, and then you go on to study the exchange program for 1 term or 1 year. So I will talk to you a little bit more about the pre-sessional English course in terms of the length of the course and the fees and everything, and the IELTS that you need. But generally, this is how it all works. So you would come and do a pre-sessional English course. You don't have to if you meet the entry requirements. Then you would do the 1 term or 1 year in psychology if you wish, and then you would return to Japan to continue your study at the university. So normally, students from the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd year in Japan would join us for this program, and they would then return back home to continue their bachelor degree. So what are the entry requirements generally for psychology? So if you are looking for the year 1 entry to our undergraduate programs, we do accept a completion of year 1 at the Japanese university. So you must be a university student currently completed a year 1. If you have A-level, great. We do accept BCC. Is that right, Laura? We accept BCC for psychology at undergraduate level. Sorry, it's just asking.
Yes, sorry, I was muted, yeah.
That's great. I just don't want to tell the wrong information. Or if you have IB, then 25 points is the minimum. And we also ask for mathematics at high school, grade, I think 3 or 4 from a Japanese high school. So in addition to this, we do ask for mathematics at high school level. If you would like to study our master's program, then we ask for a bachelor degree from Japan. And again, you must have a mathematics at high school as well. So for English language requirements, we ask for IELTS 6 overall with no band below 5.5 for undergraduate programs. So that's bachelor degree. If you have A-level or IB, you do not need IELTS. You just need to have grade C in English. If you would like to study a postgraduate program, then our IELTS requirement is 6.5 with writing 6.0 and other band above 5.5 or 5.5. So don't worry about all of this information. I know it can be overwhelming. So get in touch with SI-UK Japan and myself. I will leave my contact details at the end, and then we can have a chat with you about your current studies, your current English language levels, and what tests you need to do. If you don't want to take IELTS and you are interested in pre-sessional English, then we have an internal English test, which is run by our University of Northampton assessor. So this is an online test. So you would be tested for your speaking and writing skills online. And this is run every month. So you get in touch with me or SI-UK Japan, and then we can slot you into one of these tests. It's free of charge, but the results can only be used to enter pre-sessional English online only. So you cannot use this result for direct entry onto degree program. So this is just another alternative option if you don't want to take IELTS and you are sure that you want to do a pre-sessional English. We can take you into the internal English test and test you and assess you for that. So let's have a look briefly of the online pre-sessional English program that we have on offer. So we have 12 weeks starting in March this year and in June, and then if you get 5.5 you would then go on to 6 weeks, or if you get 5 overall after you have finished this 12-week course, you would then go into 11 weeks. So it depends on your English language level in terms of where we would place you. So to get in touch with us, if you know your score and it's not 6.0 or 6.5, then we welcome you to do this pre-sessional English program online. And this table is actually available on our website as well, so you can have a look and see which pre-sessional English course you would like to do and what level your English language is at. But generally, most students would do 11 weeks and 6 weeks. So the majority would go into these 2 courses. And when you finish in September, you would then join either the degree program or the short-term study program I mentioned earlier. There's no test. You don't need to sit a test at the end of these courses. It's a coursework and assignment, so you just need to pass those assignments in order to progress to your degree course. So what are our tuition fees for the this coming academic year? Our fees are very competitive and affordable. So for our bachelor degree program, it starts at 14,000 per year. Other specialist courses might be different depending on what you would like to do. And then if you chose a sandwich year or placement year at undergraduate level, there would be an additional £1,100 on top. If you choose not to do a placement year, then that is waived. For master degree, we ask for £15,000, and our master degree normally lasts for 1 year only. And if you do a master's with placement, there are 11 courses that offer masters with placements. Then it's £500 during your placement year, or if you choose not to do the placement year, it's waived. So to help all of our international students with our tuition fees, we do offer up to 30% scholarships every year. So that's a reduction of tuition fee each year of your study. Now, it depends on your academic profile. So if you do very well in your bachelor degree or at high school, and we look at your grades and your IELTS is excellent, or your English language score is excellent, then we would offer you 30% maximum. And any less than that, it would be 10% or 20%, depending on your academic profile. So please do get in touch with us if you are interested in knowing if you are eligible for a scholarship. We can look at your current transcript and your English language, and then we can confirm more concretely whether you're eligible for these. So cost of living at Northampton is very low compared to major cities in the UK. So that's one of the great reasons to study and live here in Northampton. So around £600 to £800 per month on average to cover for rent, food, transport, entertainment, and other living expenses. So much, much lower than London, around 50% lower than London. So you would save a lot of money when you come and live and study here at Northampton. And then you can find a part-time job. So 20 hours per week is what you can work during your term time. Outside of that, then you can work full-time if you wish. But we have Unitemps, which is a website that you're welcome to go and check out, unitemps.com. It will list all of the part-time jobs available to you as a student of Northampton. And then in terms of accommodation, we have a range of accommodation from on campus, in the town centre, and in a suburb. So you would get the bus in, so that's Scholars Green. So the price actually goes down the further you are from campus, but you must live within 40 miles of the university, door to door. So a lot of our students actually choose to live in Waterside campus. It's very lovely, spacious, very new. So a lot of undergraduate students live here. So if you need any more information about this, please check out our virtual tour on our webpage, northampton.ac.uk. You can actually walk around the rooms and get a feel for what it's like. And lastly, as a student, you have access to 35 sports clubs, 50 societies, all for free. So we're one of the 3 universities in the UK to offer all of this for free. So you get to really meet other students and make friends with other students outside of the classroom, and build some good memories together. So to apply, please contact the SI-UK Japan. They will help and assist you to apply online. We do accept application for September 2022 right now. So please start your application early so you have time to accept it and apply for visa, but we will help you along the way. So that's it from me. If you need any information, please contact me on my email or telephone number here if you want to call. But I will now hand back to Laura for question and answer regarding the course, or if you have any specific questions about scholarships and entry requirements, then please feel free to ask now.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So we have now a couple of questions. I will read through. 少し質問たくさんありがとうございます。時間があんまりないので結構駆け足でいきますね。We are kind of running out of time, so I will read through the questions as quickly as
possible.
MSc サイコロジーコンバージョンコースはどのようなバックグラウンドがありますと入れる可能性がありますか？私はアンダーグラジュエイトで日本の法学を学び、その後金融等で職業経験があります。What kind of background do you accept for MSc Psychology course? I have a Japanese bachelor degree in law and some work experience in a financial field.
That would be appropriate. Basically, we would accept students with any undergraduate degree course. The only stipulation would be that they had a high quality, good degree, what we consider a good degree, and also some mathematical experience. So, but that would only be sort of high school maths, as long as someone has high school maths, because there is a statistical component to the course. But yes, that would be the kind of thing that we'd be looking for a student on the MSc conversion course.
Thank you. 何でも OK ということです。で、次ですね。心理学のバックグラウンドがなくコースに入るとクラスについていけるか不安なのですが、事前に準備できることなどありますか？ I'm worried if I can keep up with the class if I join the course without a psychological background. Is there anything I can prepare in advance?
If you do the MSc conversion course, none of the students would have a psychological background. So we would be starting from, ground level. So we wouldn't expect any psychological knowledge at all. Everyone would be in exactly the same position.
Thank you. 特に何も用意することがないということです。はい。では、next question。お話をお伺いして興味を持ったのですが、ポジティブサイコロジーとはどのようなものですか？ By listening to your presentation, I got curious. What is positive psychology like, if I may ask?
Okay, positive psychology is, I think historically, psychology has been seen as something where we fix problems, where we look at people that commit crime and we stop them committing crime, where we help people that have mental health difficulties. Positive psychology is about taking a more proactive approach and stopping these problems from developing in the first place. So teaching people, so it's about well-being and thinking positively in a way that prevents the problems from ever happening and needing any requirement for any of the more sort of remedial forms of psychology. I hope that makes sense.
Thank you so much. では、心理学を学んでどのような仕事に就くことができるでしょうか？ What kind of job can we get by studying psychology?
I think I covered that, and if you want to look at the slides again later, that you can get so many different jobs with, if you with a degree in psychology. Many of our students go on to be psychologists, so to work as either an educational psychologist or a clinical psychologist, or an occupational psychologist, health psychologist. But many of our students go and work in other fields. So, for example, working in human resources, in business, working in the health sector. Really, the skills that you get from a psychology degree can help you in any profession where you're working with other people. So a lot of our students also go into things like teaching or writing, etc. Okay.
ありがとうございます。Thank you. あとは、帰国を卒業後、日本人留学生のどのぐらいがイギリスで職に就くことができますか？ How many Japanese students can get a job in the UK after graduating from your school?
I can't give you a definite answer to that, but there is no reason why a Japanese student wouldn't be eligible for any of the jobs that any other student would be eligible for with the same qualification. So I don't see that there's any barriers to Japanese students working in the UK apart from sort of visa issues.
Yeah, and just to add to that, the UK has opened up to post-study work visa, so you can actually stay on after graduation now, or international student can, for 2 years, so that you can find employment in the UK.
Thank you. そうですね、最近日本人の生徒さんにはポストワークビザといってイギリスで UG とか PG を卒業した後2年間現地に滞在することができて働けるというビザをアプライすることができますので、そういったビザを活用しながらご自身のキャリアにつなげていったら良いのではないかなと思います。The last question is actually written in English in the chat box. So
okay,
I'll repeat. What is your expectation, such as in class contribution to Japanese students? What are some important factors you expect in personal statement from Japanese students? How difficult for Japanese graduates to get jobs in the UK nowadays? What percentage of Japanese graduates get jobs and stay in EU? Please tell me about top-up section in slide number 24. I couldn't understand what it meant.
Okay, I'll take those one at a time then. In terms of expectations, we strongly encourage all students to participate in class. So we tend to find that the more students get to know each other, the more willing they are to contribute. And it makes for a much better class if there's a lot of discussion. That said, we as psychologists also recognise that there's a lot of individual differences in people, and some people much prefer to just sort of sit back and let other people get on with it. And that is fine too. Everyone has a different learning style. So how much you contribute in a class is entirely your own decision, really. In terms of important factors in personal statement, again, that wouldn't differ for Japanese students as it would for any other student. What we'd look for is some evidence of an understanding of psychology and some enthusiasm for the subject area. In terms of, I think I've already addressed the issue about getting a job. That shouldn't be a problem at all. I can't answer the next one, I'm afraid. I can come back to you with that. I don't know about the percentage of students that stay in the EU. And I'm not sure what's meant by the last question either.
No,
I've just looked on. Is that yours?
Don't worry. Yeah. I can explain that. Don't worry. Yeah. So Yeah, so again, it's quite difficult to answer, what percentage of Japanese graduate get jobs in the UK and EU, because that is quite a vast kind of, answer really, because the post-study work visa has just come in action last year. So it is easier now if you look at the visa situation for students to get jobs in the UK. So we should see an increase in international student getting a job in the UK and EU compared to previous years. But we can always come back to you on, an idea of that later on how many international students get a job since the post-study work visa has come in. In terms of top-up, this is for students who are studying at the university in Japan at the moment, and they are completing the third year, or they have a higher national diploma, and they can go into study our top-up programs, which unfortunately psychology doesn't have a top-up program currently, but you can go into existing top-up program that we have, whether it's global business management or commerce international business management. If you wish to transfer into final year of psychology, we can look into that, and we can contact Laura or her colleagues to do the mapping. So there is a possibility to transfer you from your current psychology bachelor degree into a final year here. So yeah, that's what it means, top up.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. Great. The student got it. Thank you. So, 他に質問ないですかね。いろいろたくさん送ってくださって誠にありがとうございました。So, I guess this is the end of the presentation. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. It's lovely to meet you.
Yeah,
Thank you so
very
much.
And lastly, finally, I want to tell you, all of you, about our university fair. 3月の26日の土曜日、夕方の4時から9時までオンラインで SI-UK 主催のオンライン留学フェアを開催いたします。ノーサンプトン大学も参加いたしますので、勘太郎さんと1対1の面談をご希望の方、ぜひオンライン留学フェアにご予約の上ご参加ください。英語力にまだ自信がないですよっていう方は、通訳の方も通訳もこちらでご用意しておりますので、ぜひ参加してください。Are you the one who give them the students one-to-one talk at the university fair?
Yes, I will be there, so I look forward to seeing some of the students here.
そうですね。ぜひ参加してください。So this is 終わりです。はい。Thank you so much for your time. 皆さんもありがとうございました。またセミナーなどですね、どこかでお会いできるのを楽しみにしております。本日はありがとうございました。Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye bye.